Good afternoon. The time is 4:03 p.m. The date is January 22nd, 2024. I'd like to call to order the meeting of the Norwalk Traffic Authority. We have a quorum with Commissioner Collier Clemens, Commissioner Tony Lopez, and Mayor Rilling. The first item on the agenda is public comment. Do we have anybody wishing to address the commission or the authority?
If anybody would like to speak, can you please raise your hand electronically? We do not, Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Then the next item on the agenda is the discussion and vote, approve the minutes of the meeting of December 18th, 2023. Do I have a motion?
So moved, Mayor.
Okay, Commissioner Lopez moves. Are there any corrections, deletions, omissions?
I have none, Mayor.
I have
Seeing-
none.
Seeing none, all in favor of approving the minutes as submitted?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Minutes are approved. Next item on the agenda is the approval of the partial road closure of Chestnut Street from Monroe Street to Henry Street and Henry Street from South Main Street to the South Norwalk Railroad Station driveway for the Sono TOD Infrastructure Improvement Project, May 24th to July 31st. Can I have a motion to move that?
I move that item for discussion.
Mr. Sotnick, are you preparing to present this?
Actually, Mayor, it will be myself, Vanessa
Okay.
Valadares. So Vanessa Valadares, Chief of Operations and Public Works. Thanks, everybody. We're in front of the traffic authority because we'd like to ask for a one-way change on Chestnut so we can perform the underground utilities of that road that is associated with the TOD for Chestnut in a safely way. Before we came in front of the traffic authority, we have also talked to all the residents that are involved on that block, particularly the school. And we do understand that it will be better for the traffic to flow during construction if we keep that road one way. I just want to call the attention that it is an extensive project, so we're planning to start the spring of 24, but the deadline of completion for this project is July 2025. Also, we put some restrictions of on the time that the worker can be on the street, and this way we're also avoiding any further traffic issues, particularly around the school hours. So we also have that already written in the spec for the project that has been already advertised. So again, the main reason that we're in front of you is really to ask for authorization to make Chestnut only one-way lane between Monroe and Henry, and then Henry up to the driveway as part of this project.
I have one question there.
Maybe if you can go back to the first design, I think that will be easier for them to see exactly what is there that will be affected.
So down by, well, further south, there's a gentleman that has a business with several large trucks. And earlier, I met with him and he expressed concerns about where his trucks would be able to go if if Chestnut Street was one way, because he can't go on Henry Street up the road on Ely Avenue. Henry Street's going to be one way in from Monroe, and he'd have to make a left-hand turn then and go out Bell Avenue, which is also difficult. Has he been contacted as well?
Mayor, I believe Stephen can answer if he talked to him, but we don't see an issue with any trucks because they can get through South Main Street and then make a left on Monroe and then get under that bridge that has enough clearance. So it's really pretty much that first block where we do not have any people with trucks parking in there. So he just needs to go around the block instead of making a straight line. It will add a couple of minutes to it, but not that we are, he's still gonna have access to the bridge that has clearance for trucks.
And
Commissioners?
clearance as well on the overhead on Monroe?
Monroe, yeah, you know, we are very aware of all our bridge clearances for trucks. So that's why we know that for sure Monroe is one of the bridges where we always need to divert traffic through truck traffic. Commissioner Lopez, particularly when we have any major closures on Route 136, or you know that are going to be affected. One thing that we do, we put signs on the corner of Water Street and I believe is not Haviland, is what is the name of how does it change Monroe? I forgot the name of.
Hanford.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Hanford Place.
So Hanford, exactly. So we put right at the corner of Water Street and Hanford, exactly to announce to all truck drivers that they must do that left turn. Otherwise, they're gonna get stuck on the bridges in case the Straffolino Bridge is closed. So we know that we have enough clearance for even a truck trailer.
Vanessa, I think the mayor's question has not been answered as to whether the business owner has been contacted and communicated with, because I think his issue is a little bit more than just the access and the turning points and the bridge clearance. Am I understanding that correct, Mayor?
That's correct. It's more
Yeah.
turning, it's more the turning of his trucks. I guess what he did was he'd come out of his place of business, make a right onto Chestnut Street and go all the way down to Monroe. Now it's going to be a challenge because he's going to have to try to make a left-hand turn. I don't think he can go up the other part of Henry Street up onto Ely Avenue. I don't think that's possible, especially with the lower part of Ely Avenue and it being very narrow and a lot of traffic. So I'm just wondering whether
Stephen,
he's been contacted.
Yeah,
Um,
so we've had a previous public meeting that TMP was hosting and helping us participate with. We had proposed the idea of a permanent one-way of Chestnut Street, in which the contractor that I think you're referring to, and I can't remember his name or the company name, but farther down the trucking company off of Chestnut Street did attend that, and we had spoken extensively with him in person for that. The issue at hand for them was that they didn't think that there was there was more of a concern between Concord and Henry Street for them than there was for Chestnut and Monroe Street and Henry Street, because they wouldn't have access to the Henry Street extension. So we're currently in the process of reevaluating that. We didn't get as much pushback from them or as much issue with the section between Monroe and Chestnut Street. As well, the temporary closed construction for Chestnut between Monroe and Henry Street is proposed. While we're expecting lane closures during the work to occur, we are not requesting any kind of permanent or temporary one way of Henry Street extension as a part of this, so they should still have access up there. We'd also consulted with the Norwalk Transit District, because their bus routes loop through there, and they're able to get their buses up Henry Street extension and out Ely Avenue back up onto MLK that way. So they should have access in that direction, as well as if it needed to be an option, Station Place is going to be open during this as a third way to maybe get around to Monroe Street. We have not spoken with them specifically on the Monroe to Henry Street one way for the work that needs to occur. But again, we did speak with them extensively for the public meeting that we had to get their feedback.
Do buses come down Ely Avenue as well and make a right onto Henry Street Extension?
They do not, as far as I'm aware. I had checked with Matt Pence for that, and the traffic flow that they have through their website has everybody going up Henry Street Extension, making a right out of Station Place onto Henry Street Extension and going up. They don't have any vehicles that go left down Henry Street Extension towards Chestnut Street.
I noticed that this is not requested until May 2024. I wonder if it wouldn't be wise to table it until another meeting in February, perhaps, and give us a chance to look at it a little bit more from the perspective of that business owner and see if we can accommodate him a little bit more effectively.
Mayor, may I just share one thing? We have this project out to bid, and we have included these MPT plans. In case that gets changed, it may affect the cost of the project as a change order after all. So that's why we were hoping that we can come up with maybe a direction from this meeting. So we will need either to change the plans during the bid process and then avoiding any change orders.
I'm not suggesting changing the plan. I'm suggesting that we just have the discussion with that business owner and make sure he's comfortable with it. If he's not comfortable with it, I'm not saying we should change the plan, because there might only be one way to accomplish what we're trying to accomplish. Whether he has to go, if he's able to make a left onto Henry Street Extension and then go through the railroad station parking lot. I mean, just try to make sure he's comfortable with all of this. When I spoke to him, he was very concerned that his trucks would not be able to navigate.
Okay, we'll do that.
So if the commission would entertain that, if you're comfortable with that as well, of tabling this item until a future date in February, the meeting date in February. That'll still give 60 days. Or
Okay,
90 days, actually.
Okay, I move that we table this item to our February meeting after consultation with the business owner there by the engineering department, traffic department.
Yep. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, so thank you. And we will make sure that we follow up on it. Next item is discussion and vote golf cart regulations for Norwalk streets. You have a motion to bring that forward,
So move, Mayor.
brought by Commissioner Lopez, I believe.
Yep.
Okay. Discussion, I guess this is the lead person here is Kevin Smith.
Yes, Mr. Mayor. Thank you to the Traffic Authority and the attendees for having us back today to continue the discussion of the proposed regulation that would allow golf cart use on certain streets in Norwalk. During the Norwalk Traffic Authority meeting on Monday, December 18th, the proposed regulation was tabled pending some answers to a number of questions and concerns that were raised during that meeting. Connecticut Custom Carts has attempted to address these in a questions and answers document that was provided to the Traffic Authority on Tuesday, January 9th. And it's our understanding that the Traffic Authority has, and the meeting attendees have had the opportunity to review the document. We appreciate that because that document was rather lengthy. With the Traffic Authority's permission, what we would like to do is to begin by reviewing a couple of the key questions from that document and summarizing our findings for those.
Commissioners, do you feel it's necessary to go back through some of the presentation, or have you looked at the deck that was presented and all the answers to the questions we had, and are comfortable?
I looked at the document and I looked at the information that was in it. Is there anything of great importance that you want to highlight from that? I would not entertain going through the whole document.
No, there were about 4 or 5 things that I thought would be good for us to focus on of the key elements that came out of that meeting. I don't think it would be more than, again, 4 or 5 of the items, if that's okay. Because it was a lot of items, I understand.
All right, we'll proceed, and we'll, commissioners, if you feel that you've had enough information at any time, we can move forward, but go ahead and proceed.
Thank you so much. So we start off with section 1, which was the section on questions regarding other municipalities. Question 1 in that section talked about the towns by population in Connecticut, and so we offered to follow up on that discussion, providing the additional information that we could find out about the permanent populations of those towns, as reported by Chief Walsh during the meeting, and any of the seasonal increases they experienced during the summer months. We confirmed Chief Walsh's figures from the prior meeting and determined that while some towns do experience a significant percentage increase during the summer months, the summer totals don't approach those of Norwalk. And with the traffic authority's permission, we'd like to ask if there are any questions or comments regarding our findings on that question.
I have none.
Okay. Very good. Question 3 regarding the largest cities. Mayor Rilling asked us to report back on the size of some of the largest cities that have a regulation allowing golf cart use on public roads. And we provided a list of that in the Q&A document, showing that from Los Angeles, a city of nearly 4 million people, to Boston, a city of nearly 700,000 people, the top 10 cities are major population centers that are not generally considered to be resort, retirement, or beach communities. This was also true of more than 250 other cities with populations as large or larger than Norwalk. Now, that said, all these cities are governed by regulations that restrict golf cart use to certain roads, typically based on some combination of posted speed limit, designation of city versus state, and the requirement of specific safety equipment on the vehicle. So we wanted to just, point that out, the number of cities that were out there that were above the 90,000 mark that is typically the Norwalk benchmark for population. So with the traffic authority's permission, we'd like to ask if there are any questions or comments regarding our findings on that question.
I have a question regarding these cities. I imagine I know the answer, but the way it's written, it says the top 10 cities in the U.S. that have statewide laws. Have these cities that have the statewide laws adopted those laws for use of golf carts within their boundaries?
The state laws in those cases don't require that. They are basically laws that say they're available for use anywhere within the state. So all of these cities, there may be some specific regulations that have been enacted within those cities, but they all have the ability to have golf carts on their roads.
Yeah, they have the ability, but do they have them? In other words, Los Angeles, if I'm in Los Angeles, I can ride my golf cart, or are you just saying they have the ability to do it because they have statewide laws, but there's no local requirement?
No, you can ride golf carts in Los Angeles. In all those, I went through and looked at the actual existence of golf cart dealerships in those cities, and did some searching on whether or not you could ride a golf cart in San Jose, for example. And in fact, they are allowed. Yeah.
Okay.
I didn't quite get the answer to that question, Kevin.
Yes, Commissioner Collier-Clemens. The answer is that those cities do permit golf carts to be ridden on their roads. And you have to meet the requirements set by the state's regulation, but you can, I think in California, for example, it's a 35-mile-an-hour restriction in terms of the speed limits on the roads. So in Los Angeles, you can drive a golf cart on those on city roads that are 35-mile-an-hour and below. And that's the same with all of the cities that are shown here.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
All right. So then the next question that we wanted to cover really quickly was the question that's up on the screen right now, which is the question 2 on Commissioner Collier-Clemens. You asked about the costs incurred by the cities in the state of Connecticut regarding implementing the regulation, and we were not able to get all the cost data and income figures from all the towns that have a regulation. And as you could have seen in the original Q&A document, we had a couple of towns listed there, but we have gotten some additional information since then. So for example, you can see that East Lyme, which is one that was new to us at the time, that town is the, I'm sorry, this is actually for, I think, the wrong document.
I'm not doing it. They're doing it. They're running it.
Oh, they're running it. Okay. Can I get permission to share the document from our side? I wanted to go through that cost and incomes piece of the
You want this
of the
one?
question. Yeah, that's the one we want. Yep. So can everyone see?
Oh,
that-
I gotta share it.
Okay, sorry, Fleur. You have to share screen at the bottom. Yep, there.
And
That's
it's
the
in this
addendum on the left.
one, right? Oh, no, this
Thank you. So the question was, what are the known costs? We got information from East Lyme that said that their golf cart plates cost them about $17.50 each. And they are issued during the first registration. Those plates don't change annually, so it's a one-time fixed cost. Sticker costs are 98 cents each, so about $1. They're issued annually. And the good folks at East Lyme were nice enough to provide me copies of pictures of the images that they, of the golf cart plates and stickers that they use. The annual registration fee there is $35. So against a one-time cost of $17.50 and an annualized cost of $1, the program has a surplus every year. In addition, we got news from Stratford. Their plates cost them around $20 also. And they're issued during the first registration. They don't change annually. In both of the cases of East Lyme and Stratford, existing staff was used to administer the program, so there's no additional staffing hours that were used in this. And the annual registration fee in Stratford is $100. So they have a pretty nice surplus each year on the program. Old Saybrook has a series of fees that are associated with it, everything from a first cart, second cart, third cart fee that they have within a family, up to $45 for vanity plates. And so they have a surplus that they are generating each year as well, because their costs run about the same as what we've seen on the other ones. They're running that $15 range. The Clinton regulation was approved in May of 22, and they only have a couple of carts registered, so that their costs have been minimal. East Haven doesn't require registration of the carts at all, so they incur no cost on the program. And we were unable to get a response from the folks at Old Lyme and at Bradford. So with the traffic authority's permission, we'd like to provide this addendum to be included in the meeting minutes. Would that be approved?
It's on the record, so that'll be fine.
Okay, great. All right. With the traffic authority's permission, we'd like to ask if there are any questions or comments regarding our findings on this question.
Do we have any comments from the commissioners or from the police department? You can take the screen down now too.
Okay.
I have none, Mayor.
Thank you. Okay. Then going to section 2, question 7, there were concerns about Connecticut Custom Carts introducing golf carts to East Norwalk without doing it the right way. And this was a concern that was brought up during the December 18th meeting. Chief Walsh raised the concerns related to the activities of the company in the Cove Marina area. The chief's concerns were serious, and I promised to look into them and report back to the traffic authority. So as noted in the Q&A document, the company sold a total of 4 golf carts to Norwalk and Rowayton customers since its inception, 3 of which were replacement carts. And those replacements actually significantly upgraded the safety equipment for those vehicles, as well as reduced the emission by replacing gas-powered vehicles with electric vehicles. So the net golf cart increase in Norwalk due to the activities of Connecticut Custom Carts since its inception was 1 golf cart. The company engaged numerous, however, prospects during the last year, and we informed them that the golf carts were not permitted yet on Norwalk roads. And as a result, many of those prospective sales were lost. Chief Walsh also indicated that some restaurants were delivering food using golf carts, and the company is not aware of any restaurants that do this, but if we can be provided with the names of those restaurants, then we will be happy to reach out to them and to explain the current restrictions on that practice. So we're happy to engage with them on that. That said, the company has been promoting its business very actively during the last year, including a presence at local businesses, at civic and private events, and at the Norwalk Boat Show, where we were the official shuttle service for the show. Now, we suggested that this, we do suggest that this public profile may have resulted in either the department being more aware of all golf cart activity in the city, or existing cart owners being more emboldened about their ability to drive their carts, or some combination of both. So that was kind of the, we went back and did our research to look and see exactly what impact we think, on getting golf carts into the East Norwalk community. With the traffic authority's permission, we'd like to ask if there are any questions or comments regarding our findings on this question.
Well, thank you. Commissioner Lopez or Commissioner Collier-Clemens, do either of you have any questions or comments?
I have no questions, no comments.
I have no questions.
And anything from the police department or the traffic TMP?
Mayor Rilling, just using the data that he provided, that based on the net sales of only 1 golf cart, it doesn't add up, because I've been here for 36 years and we've never had a golf cart issue before in East Norwalk or Lower East Norwalk before last summer. So if you have 1 net sale of 1 golf cart and it created issues last summer, if we multiply that, that's my consideration.
Yeah. Okay, any other comments or questions?
Mayor, from TMP, I think we would be just concerned about the state requirements of 25 miles an hour and the request to have TMP reduce those. It's a it's a time-consuming process, and I think we, our staff at times is always critical to do this. And from our perspective, we require, we deal with the requirements from Connecticut Department of Transportation and the application and the collection of data. It would be a time-consuming process that would negate us to be able to work on other projects that we think are more worthy of our time right now. And then additionally, our right-of-ways in some of these beach communities are quite small. Our roads are quite small, and many of them lack sidewalk infrastructure. So the roadway is already accommodating cyclists, pedestrians, motorists, and from an added other vehicle on the road, we just have some safety concerns of over flooding these tight roads, with a variety of things for a pedestrian to take a look at.
Okay. Any further comments?
Yeah, thank you, Director Travers. One of the things that we were be interested in learning more about during this meeting was that there were a number of topics that came up concerning congestion and narrow roads and speeding and traffic density in the last meeting, and we addressed or attempted to address some of those in questions 8 through 12 of our document. And in it, we felt that that it's intuitive that it would seem that the presence of a smaller, slower moving vehicle on narrower, congested roads would actually be a net positive for those areas. However, we're not trained civil engineers, so we would like to get a better understanding of the concerns so that we can research how they've been addressed in other cities. But it would seem to us that if a vehicle is on the road and not in the bike lane or on the sidewalk, that that presence on the road is actually going to be a traffic calming effect. So that's where we were.
Unless the commission has any more questions, are we ready to take a vote?
I'm ready.
Okay, all in favor of allowing the golf carts on the city streets as proposed in the documents and everything we have? Are you in favor? Either vote aye or nay. Commissioner Lopez,
Nay.
Commissioner Collier-Clemens,
Nay.
and I also am a no vote. I do want to thank Mr. Smith for the presentation. I just feel, and I think the commission feels the same, that Norwalk is not ready for that because of the extra work that will be necessary with the changing of roads down to a 25-mile-an-hour speed limit in order to appease or to accommodate the golf carts, and the extra work for the police department in enforcing this, and for TMP as well. So I want to thank the commission as well for your time and for looking at the documents as presented.
And we'd like to thank the Traffic Authority for devoting as much time to it as you have. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda is the approval of Rowayton Elementary School Zone speed limit. Can I have somebody move that?
I move the item.
Moved by Commissioner Collier-Clemens. Mr. Benjamin, are you going to address this?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I will. So this is, we've been doing speed limit changes throughout the city, as many of the commissioners will be aware from prior meetings. We recently did a school zone speed limit at Fox Run Elementary School. And a couple of weeks back, a woman who lives along Rowayton Elementary School on Rowayton Avenue had a complaint about some issues with speeding on her street. We took a look at it. Although there is not a major speeding problem on their street, it could use a school speed limit just to better enforce the areas around Rowayton Elementary School. So this is basically just a letter to request to OSTA that we do a school speed zone limit from the times of 8:30 a.m. to 9:30 a.m. and 3:15 p.m. to 4:15 p.m. on Rowayton Avenue and Wilson Avenue by the school. So I have a map up, which would just be this portion of Rowayton Avenue, if it would load, this portion of Rowayton Avenue from McKinley to Wilson, and then this portion of Wilson from Rowayton to Flicker Lane, which are directly next to the school. And this would also include school zone flashers, which we could install at a later time as well if this were to be passed.
Okay, thank you. Any questions or comments from the commission?
I have none, Mayor.
I have none.
Any comments or questions from the police department?
No, Mayor.
So all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Next item is approval of the time parking regulations on Lexington Avenue. Can I have a motion to move that?
So move, Mayor.
Moved by Commissioner Tony Lopez. Mr. Jung, I guess you will be
Yes.
addressing this?
Thank you, commissioners. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So the community police officer for this area, Hector Delgado, he came to TMP earlier this month with an issue. The business owner at 37 Lexington Avenue, Saluma Agency, they had complained to Officer Delgado about a lack of parking in front of their business. It had been made somewhat worse recently by our TMP's decision to enforce the citywide ordinance for no parking 25 feet from street corners. So you can see that in the red zone that's outlined around Saluma Agency and around El Coqui Grocery and Deli. So we felt it was imperative to enforce this no parking zone due to constraints with truck turns to and from Olean Street, as well as the fact that this was is a high crash location in the city. So to offset some of these concerns about not having enough parking in front of these businesses, we'd like to propose establishing timed parking regulations on the east side of Lexington Avenue. This would be in these kind of yellow-orange zones near the frontage of each of these businesses, Saluma Agency and El Coqui Grocery. So the proposed regulation is for 1 hour parking, 9 a.m. to 7 p.m., Monday to Saturday. It's the exact same regulation that's in front of the groceries on the east side of Ely at Lexington, about a quarter mile away. Officer Delgado, he spoke to the owners at both Saluma and El Coqui, and they are in favor of this regulation.
How much would that parking,
So this would
Hey,
be
2, 3?
unmetered. This would just be timed. So it would be a 1 hour parking regulation, but it would not have any meters.
How many car lengths or cars
sorry.
would it accommodate?
This would be 1 car length long each. It would be 25 feet long, each of the zones.
Do you know if we have any problems with commuter parking on that street in the green area where there's unrestricted parking right now?
I don't know for sure. I think from anecdotally, some of the issues are from actually commercial vehicles, such as landscapers who may be parking their vehicles on Lexington for long periods of time. So I think that's is a little bit more of the source of the issues rather than daily commuters in this area.
You notice
So-
that, oh, go ahead. I'm sorry, Commissioner.
No, I was going to say, so the proposed 1 hour parking there at Saluma and El Coqui it satisfies, well, right now it satisfies the owners?
That's correct.
Okay.
Usually, and this is just a comment, usually when you see, you know, the restrictive parking allocated time, I've seen less than an hour. So I'm just wondering why an hour, why not 15 minutes, why not half an hour? I'm just trying to understand that.
So it's just to be accommodating, maybe just in case someone needs to be there a little bit longer. For one reason or another, maybe they're eating a meal or something like that. Yeah, obviously we want to balance having enough parking turnover. That's the whole point of this regulation, with not being overly restrictive. And this is the same time period, 1 hour, that's used for a similar grocery store further north on Lexington Ave.
Okay.
I have a question which is not related to the parking. You say that Olean and Lexington, one of the highest crash rates in the city. Is that due to turning vehicles, or is that due to poor sightline? And would a stop sign, a 3-way stop sign there, be an appropriate response, and also a bit of a traffic calming?
Ben, I can take this one. So Mr. Mayor, we've developed a comprehensive crash data repository for the entire city to determine or equivocate each intersection across the city to all other intersections. I'd have to review it in a little further detail to be able to tell you exactly what the types of crashes are happening, but we are looking at improvements further down the street, which may help in towards improving this intersection. It's not particularly dangerous, thankfully, but it is very crash prone. But I would have to look in it more detail to figure out if what the types of crashes are and whether it would be an always stop or some other intersection control would be the best method there.
What traffic enforcement is currently in place there now as far as like stop signs?
There's a one-way stop from Olean Street onto Lexington Avenue.
Okay.
All right, yeah, if you could look into that for us and determine what types of accidents you're referring to when you say the highest crash rates. Also, I know that Lexington does tend to have people exceeding the speed limit in that area, so maybe that would be something that could slow the traffic down
Yeah.
and stop them right in the middle of the road. Well, stop them on Lexington as well. So-
Mayor, a major issue is the width of the road in the parked cars.
Yeah, okay.
That is a major issue as we've seen this neighborhood get more dense with multifamilies. Going back 10 or 15 years, the density of parked vehicles. And there are other, shall I say, combination vehicles parked on the road used for commercial purposes, which enforcement can't be taken, like pickup trucks. When I drive down there, you have to almost do one of those things where you have to stop and allow the guy
Right.
approaching you to go. So width is definitely a factor.
All right, yeah, and maybe coming out of Olean's sight line or something else
Yes.
might also, if there are cars parked in the way. So if they just take a look at it and maybe make a recommendation at a future meeting.
We will. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
So all in favor of the parking proposal as presented by TMP?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. That's all the business that comes before the authority today. The next meeting is February 19th, 2024 at 4 p.m. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
I move to adjourn.
Moved by Commissioner Collier Clemens. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion. We are adjourned at 4:44. Thank you.
Thank you.
Now we will get off this Zoom meeting and go to the one for the traffic or for the police commission.